still participate, because the purpose of this group is not to get all the work done, it's to get all the theory done. So when you do the work, you kind of understand what you're doing. Does everyone understand what cosm is? It's like being in a space that's outside of you and basically outside of time and that material is beyond your subconscious mind, it's already going into your superconscious mind. So if you're experiencing something as a cosm, but it doesn't mean that if you're doing the work now that you are actually in it, because in order to be in that transcendent state, you have to be ready to get there, which means um, that a lot of thresholds has to be passed through your subconscious mind. And if there is material that hasn't been dealt with, hasn't been kind of faced with, it will keep you in that fear state. About void, void is basically like everything out, something that where the that tunnel starts, and then you can go further to the point where you stop sensing your body and identifying with who you are, with the personality that you are. That any transcendent experience, what are we transcending when we talk about transcendence? And that way we will expand that particular notion of what transcendence is. Because lots of people talk about transcendence, but what is it they want to, what intention they have to transcend? What is it that they're transcending? Transcending the persona that we are, and ego, right? Because it's going beyond our ego, the container that our soul is in right now. That's Yep. also my understanding. But that's for that purpose, you don't need to have an out of body. It's not always a transcendent experience, because out of body can happen in many different bodies that we have, energy bodies, or in subconscious mind. So, or in your subconscious mind material, which is not quite transcendent experience, because besides that, obviously there is. So the way the whole thing works, it's like a matrix, right? It created its own frequency and energetic place in that totality of yourself. Then there is these different bodies, like pain bodies you talked about. Then there is this limitation bodies, because they all come as a matrix on your energy system, and they have their own effects on decision making, on how you feel, how you experience life. So, and most of these programs, I call them programs, not bodies, but again, each person defines them in their own way. When you say a body, it's like something that you're stuck with, and I don't like that. So when your understanding to work with the program, just like you do on a computer, you can amend it, you can change it, you can clean it, you can remove it. Same thing here. So yeah, and then there is this conditioning that's on the physical body that comes from all this programming, right? So when we do this work, spiritual work, we basically slowly, step by step, layer by layer, trying to clear and bring more awareness into those spaces, so we understand how we became where we are right now, like all this energetic material that you are, because the physical body, it's also dense energy system. This all came to play somehow, and you're learning to understand how. And it's like a quest, right? And more you become aware of, more awareness you bring into that particular, if you call it body or program, on your reality, basically. That's from my understanding, it's that purpose. But control, again, control is not the best word, probably. It's more of being aware and depending on what the stage is, working with it. Like sometimes, in order to get rid of it, you just have to take your attention away from it to let it kind of break down because you're not feeding it energetically. So a lot of people stuck in their pain, it's because it's a constant uh, thinking process that creates the neurology in your brain that controls that loop. Exactly. If
Oh.
you break it down, you stop thinking about it. That's why we do this work of creating the observer. The observer notices that you are in a loop. Like I'm experiencing this right now. Like there's something happening in my life, and I understand that it's a that loop that I'm in. I can't get rid of it. I can't get out of it. But that's not bad. That's a work of a mind. Mind will always find something to grasp on and be curious about and put your attention where it's not supposed to go, right? Because the mind is this monkey that jumps from one tree to another. So the purpose of this work is that we have the observer part of us that observes that process and can direct energy consciously somewhere else and take it outside of that particular place that it's always it because it becomes draining at some point, right? Do anything about it, but not uh, a lot of people, because they don't have the ability to observe that process within them, they get stuck with it, and then they start enjoying that process because they start getting something out of it, and it becomes such a like a codependent relationship with that pain that you don't want to let it go, you know, which is fine if it serves them, whatever it serves them, because it does give them satisfaction in somewhere else. But the the best way to do it, not to ignore it but not to feed it energetically. Transcendence, if you get to the point where you become super enlightened and everything becomes like an illusion, and not in a way as a psychotic sees but in a way that your understanding of the whole becomes really a part of you, then all these little things that were a karma, a connection, a pain, it all becomes obsolete, right? Because you're like above all of that. But I don't know. I haven't met a person like that. I haven't. They talk about Buddha being one of them, but I don't know. I haven't met him. So I don't know if he really was so enlightened to the point where he didn't feel pain in his body and he didn't have any attachments. Maybe those were his kind of enlightenment moments that he passed it on, but whether he was the person who actually lived that through his life, I don't know, and I haven't met anybody like that. I don't know that I felt like they were enlightened. When you get to know them, you see they have attachments, which yogis do. I hear. I haven't seen them.
Mm.
And then they choose the day, then they basically leave the body forever, and they announce that day and they die at that day. And I apparently in yogi culture it's very popular, but I would love to have that level of awareness. You have to give in a lot of things in life, and I'm not there yet.